Grade 7 students. Today you'll be reading grammar lesson number 8, subject-verb agreement. Remember students, a verb must agree with subject in person and in number. Remember students, this rule is very important, and if you are able to master this rule, you'll be able to remove 35% of your errors. In other words, you will gain 35% accuracy in English language. A verb must agree to subject in person and in number. This is the definition. Let's see some examples now. Verbs agree with subject in persons. I is the subject. Similarly, we, you, they, he, she, it are the subject in persons. I am. Am is the correct verb with I. We can't say I are or I is. Similarly, we are. Are is the correct verb for we. You are cheating your friends. They are learning their lesson. He is, she is, it is, and so on. Here are some examples of subject in number. Ahmed is one, so S form of the verb will be used. Ahmed is correct word. Ahmed and his sister, now they are plural, so are will be the correct one. Army is a collective noun, and we are talking about one army, so army is. People are. Sarah is, my father is, his brother is, a school of whales is. Here we are talking about a group of whales. A group of whales, that means there is only one group of whales we are talking about. Do you know students how many types of changes are to be made in verbs when subject changes in person or in number? Well students, there aren't many, there are only 5 types of changes that take place in verb or helping verb when subject changes in person and in number. See this table. Remember students, in the first person we have I and we. In the second person we have only one pronoun, that is you. In the third person we have they, he, she, it, subject in persons. And the subject in number is always the third person. So all you need to see is whether they are singular or plural. If they are plural, use the rule of they. If they are singular, then use the rule of he, she, it. And he, she, it are singular. Rafi, Minahil and this cat are also singular. So let's see the 5 types of changes if we have the subject Rafi in a sentence. So there are 5 types of verbs that change when subject changes in person and in number. Number 1, will or shall. Is, am, are. Was and were. Have or has. Go or goes. In place of go, there can be any verb. All you need to see, if the subject is singular third person like he, she, it, or we can use pronoun for them, he, she, it, use S verb with them. Besides will and shall, the rule for singular third person is S form of the verb. That is what you are supposed to use in a sentence with he, she, it and singular third person like Rafi, Minahil, this cat, etc. Now you should draw this table on your register and check whether you are able to master or you have understood the formula that which verb agrees with the subject in person and in number. Here the persons I, we, you, they, he, she, it are given, and you have 5 types of verbs, will or shall. Remember students, we use shall for I and we. We use will for rest of all the persons and the subject in number. Besides will and shall, in each of the four changes that take place in verb, there is one authentic statement for them, that you have to use S form of the verb with he, she, it, or single third person for whom you can use he, she, it as pronoun. Like he is S verb, he was S verb, he has S verb, there is S at the end of has. And then in the fifth column, you see first form of the verb plus S or es. It can be any verb, and all you need to follow or see is that if it is singular third person, then use S form of the verb. Like he goes, he watches, he runs, he speaks, he talks, etc. Now let's see some examples of subject in number. Subject can be singular or plural. So all you need to see, if it is singular, use S form of the verb. If it is plural, use without S form of the verb. Like Ahmed is, Ahmed was, Ahmed has, Ahmed goes, etc. Pack of wolves. Now you have to decide whether pack of wolves is singular or plural. We are talking about one pack of wolves. There are many wolves, but the pack is one, the group is one. So we are talking about one group. So S form of the verbs will be used. Angry friend is also singular. Litter of kittens is also singular. It's a group of kittens. Galaxy of stars is also singular. People is plural, so use without S form of the verb like are, were, have, or go, etc. Salman and his friend, they are joined by and, so we will take them as plural and use a verb that is without an S. Before you solve exercises, there are some points to remember which are going to help you a lot. Remember students, if you see neither, nor, either, or in a sentence, then remember what you are supposed to do. You are supposed to consider the noun that is nearest to the verb. That is the noun you have to consider and use the verb accordingly. Let's see the examples. Neither he nor his brothers are honest. Are is the verb, and his brothers and he are the subject. But his brothers is nearest to the verb are, therefore are will be used. You can't say neither he or nor his brothers is honest. That will be wrong, because his brothers is closer to the verb are. So are will be the correct one. Let's see another example. Neither his brothers nor he is honest. Here is the verb that you're supposed to use, and he is nearest to the verb is. Rule number 2. Together with, including, in addition, as well as in. If you see or notice these things, these phrases in your sentences, then you have to consider the first noun, the first subject, not the second one or closer to the verb. You have to focus on the first noun, Mr. Jackson as well as his children. So we have two nouns here, Mr. Jackson and his children. The first one named is Mr. Jackson, so you will be using an S form of the verb, gives a short speech. Similarly, the teacher together with his students goes to Lahore. The teacher is singular. Therefore, S form of the verb goes will be used. In this sentence, there are two subjects in number. The teacher, which is singular. His students, which is plural. But we have to consider only the first noun, the teacher. Rule number 3. Whenever you see these in a sentence, each one, either, neither, it's not neither nor or either or. It is only neither and only either. If you notice them, use S form of the verb. Anyone, anybody, everybody, nobody, one another. So you have to consider them singular in number and use S form of the verb. Like each student in school has a free drink. Has is an S form of the verb which you're supposed to use. Let's see another example. Neither of the two boys, neither of the two customers wants coffee. So neither of the two customers means not even single one wants coffee. Rule number 4. If two subjects are joined by and or both and and, in that case, you will consider the subject plural in number. And rule number 5. There are sometimes compound subjects are given which are joined by both or and. In this case, you will be considering subject single in number. Let's see the examples. Jane and her mother are going to a show. Jane and her mother, there are two. So are will be the correct verb. The great philosopher and poet was born in Sialkot. This is a compound subject that refers to one person. So was will be the correct verb. The great philosopher and poet. We are talking about one person, that is Allama Iqbal, was born in Sialkot. So S form of the verb is used. Alright students, now let's solve some parts of your exercises. Choose the correct verb from the brackets for each sentence. See the first one. This brand of biscuits is or are imported. Which do you think will be used? Are we talking about biscuits or the brand of biscuits? The brand is something that we are talking about, so it will be considered, and it is singular, brand. So is will be the appropriate verb here. Now see the second sentence. Mr. Kimball manages the farm. Mr. Kimball is one person, so S form of the verb manages will be used. Now see the third example, third part. Soccer as well as many other sports is or are played by two teams of players, as well as including together with. If you find these phrases in a sentence, in that case you have to consider the first noun, and the first noun in this sentence is soccer. So soccer is one game. Is will be the appropriate verb here. This is how you're supposed to solve the rest of the parts yourself. Now let's see some parts of exercise 2. Choose the correct verb from the brackets for each sentence. Neither William nor his brothers want or wants to run the family business. What do you think will be used? Well, students, there are two nouns given in it. William and his brothers. William, number 1, his brothers, number 2. So which noun do you think is closer to the verb? His brothers or William? Well, his brothers is closer to the verb. So a verb without S, want, will be used. Now let's see the second part. Either several small pictures or a big one. Is or are nice on this wall. So we are talking about something that is singular, a big one. It is closer to the verb. So is will be used. Now see the third one. Either Molly or her friends arrange or arranges the flowers. What do you think will be used? Her friends is closer to the verb arrange and arranges. So arrange, a verb without s, will be used here. This is how you are supposed to solve rest of the parts yourself. Now let's see exercise 3 and solve some parts from exercise 3. Choose the verb which agrees with the subject in each sentence. There are 3 performances every week. So what do you think we are talking about? We are talking about performances, and there are 3 performances. Therefore, are will be used. We are talking about 3 performances. Away go or goes the happy children. Away go the happy children, laughing as they run. Children is plural, so a verb without s will be used here. Away go the happy children, laughing as they run. Now let's see the third example. Is or are this vase of flowers for the dining table? Which do you think is the correct one? We are talking about vase of flowers, not flowers. So vase is one. So is this vase of flowers for the dining table will be the correct sentence. This is how you are supposed to solve the rest of the parts yourself. Here is your home assignment. Students, you are supposed to write answers to exercise 1, 2, 3 on book, and if you need any help, you can contact your instructor. Thank you so much.